What if I told you that something in your kitchen right now, something as ordinary as a sprout, a fruit, a cup of tea, or a tomato sauce, could help fight prostate cancer? And I don't mean help in a vague, feel-good way. I mean real biological impact. Studies have shown that certain natural foods can slow tumor growth, lower PSA levels, and even trigger cancer cell death. And yet, almost no one is talking about them. Why? I'm Dr. James. I've spent over 30 years treating men just like you, fathers, grandfathers, veterans, men who built this country and now find themselves quietly fighting for their health. I've seen the fear in their eyes when the word cancer is mentioned, and I've seen how hope returns when they discover they're not powerless, that they still have choices. Here's the shocking truth. The most powerful medicine may not come from a pharmacy. It may come from your plate. But this message is rarely shared. There's no profit in prevention, and that's why what I'm about to reveal might surprise you. In this video, you'll learn about 4 scientifically proven foods that target prostate cancer from the inside out. They work by cleansing damaged cells, blocking tumor growth, and supporting your immune system. These aren't obscure ingredients, they're everyday heroes. And at the end, I'll show you exactly how to add them to your day in a simple, sustainable way. Because this isn't just about eating differently, it's about living longer, stronger, and staying in control. Stay with me. You're about to learn something that could change the course of your health and your life. Before we begin, if you haven't already, I invite you to subscribe and turn on the bell so you never miss a health message that could protect your life or someone you love. And if this video speaks to you, type 1 in the comments. If it doesn't, type 0, so I know how to serve you better. Let's begin with the very first food, one that's often overlooked, yet backed by some of the most compelling research we have. It's small, it's simple, but its impact on prostate health is powerful. This is a food no man over 60 should ignore. Let me introduce you to the first cancer-fighting ally on our list, broccoli sprouts. 1. Broccoli sprouts. The cellular cleanser. I still remember the first time a patient came into my office holding a plastic container of something green and stringy. "Doc," he said, "you ever hear of these?" They were broccoli sprouts, tiny, peppery little shoots that look more like garnish than medicine. But what he didn't know then, and what you may not know now, is that those little sprouts pack one of the most powerful cancer-fighting punches nature has ever created. Broccoli sprouts are different from mature broccoli. While the full-grown vegetable is healthy, the young sprouts contain up to 100 times more sulforaphane, the compound that gives broccoli its cancer-fighting reputation. And for men facing the risk of prostate cancer, sulforaphane is nothing short of remarkable. Studies have shown that it helps the body detox harmful compounds, reduce inflammation, and most importantly, trigger apoptosis, the process where your body tells damaged cells to self-destruct before they turn into tumors. That's not theory, that's observable, peer-reviewed science. One study I often reference was done at Johns Hopkins, where researchers found that just a few servings of broccoli sprouts per week significantly reduced the risk of prostate tumor growth in men with elevated PSA levels. The beauty is, this isn't some exotic superfood you need to special order. Broccoli sprouts are sold in most grocery stores or can even be grown at home in a mason jar. Toss them onto a sandwich, blend them into a smoothie, or sprinkle them over your scrambled eggs. The flavor is subtle, the preparation is easy, and the benefits are real. I started adding them to my own diet a few years ago, and not just because of the science. There's something empowering about knowing that the choices I make in my kitchen each morning are actively defending my health. It's a quiet discipline, but over time, it builds a shield. If you're looking for one simple step that feels like you're fighting back against age, against inflammation, against the unknown, this is it. One handful of sprouts a few times a week, and you're giving your body a natural tool to cleanse itself at the cellular level. But we're just getting started, because the next food on this list doesn't just cleanse, it actively protects your prostate from the inside out. It's bold, it's delicious, and it's been called nature's shield by cancer researchers. You won't want to miss this. 2. Pomegranate, the prostate shield. Years ago, I visited a longtime patient at his home. He was in his 70s, fighting through a slow-moving prostate cancer diagnosis, but his spirit was strong. As we sat in his kitchen, he poured 2 glasses of a deep red juice and said, "Every morning without fail, my ritual." That juice was pomegranate. At the time, I admired his dedication, but I didn't fully understand the power behind that glass. Today, after years of research and clinical experience, I can confidently say he was on to something far greater than he realized. Pomegranate has earned its reputation as one of nature's most powerful protectors, especially when it comes to the prostate. It's rich in polyphenols, particularly ellagic acid and punicalagin, compounds with potent antioxidant and anti-inflammatory effects. But it doesn't stop there. In the lab, pomegranate extract has been shown to slow the growth of prostate cancer cells and disrupt the signals that tumors use to multiply. Even more compelling is a study from UCLA where men with rising PSA levels who drank 8 ounces of pure pomegranate juice daily saw their PSA doubling time, an important marker of cancer progression, lengthen dramatically. For many, that meant buying time, delaying treatment, and in some cases, reversing course entirely. This isn't just a fruit, it's a shield. One that works quietly and consistently if you invite it into your daily routine. Whether you drink the juice, eat the seeds, or use the extract, pomegranate is doing more than quenching thirst. It's helping your body fight back. And let me say this clearly, not all pomegranate products are equal. Look for 100% pure juice, no added sugars, and if possible, organic. That patient of mine? He didn't buy the flashy brands. He juiced the fruit himself, slowly, deliberately, as if honoring a daily promise to his own body. I've since shared that story with many of my patients, and the results have been consistent. Better energy, improved lab markers, and most importantly, a renewed sense of control. Because when you start giving your body what it truly needs, you feel it, not just in your numbers, but in your confidence, your sleep, your clarity. It's not about magic, it's about momentum. So while broccoli sprouts cleanse your system at the cellular level, pomegranate helps fortify it. Together, they create a 1-2 punch against the progression of prostate disease. But there's a third ally I want you to meet. It's not a fruit or vegetable, it's a drink as old as civilization itself. And it's been quietly studied for decades for its cancer-fighting potential. You may have had it before, but I guarantee you've never seen it like this. Let's keep going. 3. Green tea, the ancient protector. I remember the first time I truly paid attention to green tea. I was visiting a medical conference in Japan, and after one of the sessions, a local physician invited me to his home. His father, well into his 80s, greeted us at the door, standing tall, sharp as ever, and full of energy. As we sat down, he poured us freshly brewed green tea with quiet pride. He drank it every single day, his son told me, and had for decades. At the time, I thought of it as a cultural tradition. Today, I see it as something much more profound, a habit that may have helped guard his prostate, his mind, and his overall health for all those years. Green tea isn't just a soothing drink. It's a centuries-old medicinal powerhouse filled with compounds called catechins. Among them, epigallocatechin gallate, EGCG, is the most studied and the most promising when it comes to prostate health. Multiple clinical studies have shown that EGCG can reduce the growth of prostate cancer cells, slow the spread of tumors, and even enhance the effectiveness of conventional treatments. It works at a molecular level, reducing the hormones that feed prostate tumors and triggering pathways that tell abnormal cells to die off. What I love most about green tea is how gentle and approachable it is. Unlike pills or treatments with long lists of side effects, this is a daily ritual that's calming to the mind and healing to the body. I've had patients who were skeptical at first. "Doc, you really think a cup of tea can help?" But a few months into it, they tell me about how their energy improved, how their digestion felt better, and how their lab results started heading in the right direction. It's not just about the tea, it's about what happens when you give your body the right tools consistently, without stress, without strain. I recommend choosing high-quality organic green tea, loose leaf if you can, and brewing it fresh with hot, not boiling water. Drink it slowly. Let it become part of your morning or afternoon. And if you want to boost its power, add a squeeze of lemon. The vitamin C can help your body absorb the catechins more effectively. There's a quiet strength in green tea, one that's earned its place in traditional medicine for thousands of years. It doesn't shout. It doesn't shock. It simply protects, day after day, cup after cup. Now, we've talked about cleansing your cells and protecting your prostate. But what if I told you there's a food that doesn't just protect, it fights back? That it disrupts the very structure of cancer cells and blocks them from multiplying. And the best part, you've probably had it in your pasta and didn't even realize the power it holds. Let's take a closer look. 4. Cooked tomatoes, lycopene, the silent warrior. If you've ever sat down to a warm bowl of homemade spaghetti or taken that first bite of a slow-simmered tomato soup, you've experienced comfort. But what if I told you that hidden in that comfort is one of the most powerful, quietest cancer fighters nature has ever created? I'm talking about lycopene, the bright red pigment found in tomatoes. And here's the key most people miss. Lycopene is far more potent when tomatoes are cooked. That simple act of heating unlocks its cancer-fighting potential, especially when it comes to the prostate. Years ago, one of my patients, an Italian-American gentleman in his late 60s, told me he made tomato sauce every Sunday with his grandkids. It was a family tradition. At the time, I nodded politely, not realizing he was unknowingly doing one of the best things for his prostate health. Later, after reading a Harvard study showing that men who consumed cooked tomato products 10 or more times per week had a significantly lower risk of prostate cancer, I called him back and said, "Joe, you've been ahead of me all along." Lycopene works differently than most antioxidants. It doesn't just clean up free radicals. It actually interferes with the signaling pathways that cancer cells use to grow and spread. It protects DNA, lowers PSA levels, and reduces inflammation in the prostate without any harsh side effects. That's why it's often referred to as a silent warrior. It doesn't make headlines, but it goes to work quietly, day after day, guarding your body from the inside. But here's the catch. Not all tomato products are created equal. Fresh tomatoes are good, but cooking them, especially with a little olive oil, dramatically boosts lycopene absorption. That means tomato paste, marinara sauce, stewed tomatoes, and even roasted cherry tomatoes are all excellent choices. The combination of heat and healthy fat helps your body make the most of this powerful compound. I've made it part of my own weekly routine. A pot of homemade sauce on Sunday, stored in the fridge to use throughout the week. It's simple, comforting, and therapeutic. And for my patients who aren't into cooking, I encourage them to look for low-sodium, additive-free sauces in the store. Just a few servings a week can start to make a meaningful difference. It's empowering to know that something as humble as a tomato can do so much. That what feels like a small decision, what you put on your plate, can quietly shift the direction of your health. Now that we've explored these 4 powerful foods, the next step is where most people get stuck. How do you take all of this information and turn it into a daily habit that's realistic, enjoyable, and actually sticks? Coming up, I'll show you exactly how to do that, step by step. 5. How to start today. By now, you've learned about 4 remarkable foods, each one powerful in its own way. But let me be honest with you, knowledge without action doesn't change a thing. I've had so many good men sit in front of me nodding, agreeing, even feeling hopeful, and then doing nothing. Not because they didn't care, but because change can feel overwhelming. That's why I want to make this part easy for you. Because the truth is, adding these cancer-fighting foods into your life doesn't require a complete lifestyle overhaul. It starts with one simple step. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine waking up tomorrow morning, brewing a fresh cup of green tea, squeezing in a little lemon and sipping it while the house is still quiet. You fry 2 eggs and toss a small handful of broccoli sprouts on the side. That's it, your first defense of the day. At lunch, maybe you add some fresh pomegranate seeds to your salad or drink a few ounces of pure juice. And for dinner, a plate of whole grain pasta topped with a rich, cooked tomato sauce. That's not a diet, that's a real meal. That's a life you're already living with just a few powerful tweaks that your body will thank you for. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to get everything right every day. But what matters is consistency. I've seen patients completely shift their prostate numbers, their energy levels, and even their outlook on life by committing to small, consistent changes like this. The science is real, but the transformation comes when you decide to do something with it. If you're not sure where to begin, just start with one. Pick the food that feels easiest or most familiar. Maybe it's adding broccoli sprouts to your sandwich or keeping a bottle of unsweetened pomegranate juice in the fridge. Maybe it's replacing that second cup of coffee with green tea. Whatever it is, take that first step today. And once you do, the next one becomes easier. Momentum builds. Your body begins to shift. You start to feel lighter, clearer, stronger. I've seen men in their 70s turn their health around not through radical treatments, but through food, consistency, and belief in the possibility of change. You are never too old, and it's never too late. You just have to begin. And if you're still wondering whether something this simple can really make a difference, what I'll share in the final moments of this video will change the way you think about aging, health, and the power that's already in your hands. Let's bring it all together. Conclusion: your prostate, your power. If you've stayed with me this far, I want you to know you're not just watching a video. You've taken a real step toward reclaiming your health, your confidence, and your future. We've talked about 4 powerful foods, each one backed by science and shaped by years of real-world experience. Broccoli sprouts, the tiny but mighty cellular cleansers. Pomegranate, the deep red shield that slows cancer's march. Green tea, the quiet ancient guardian working cell by cell to protect your prostate. And cooked tomatoes, rich with lycopene, the silent warrior that defends your DNA. These aren't exotic, unreachable ingredients. They're everyday tools that give your body the fighting chance it deserves. And I share them not just as a physician, but as a man who's walked alongside patients through their darkest hours, through fear, through surgeries, through long nights wondering what's next. I've seen the power these changes can bring. I've seen hope return to a man's face when he realizes he's not powerless. That food isn't just fuel, it's medicine. It's a choice he can make every single day. You don't have to overhaul your life overnight. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to begin. Choose one change, make it yours, then build from there. Because every step you take toward health, no matter how small, is a step away from fear and toward strength, clarity, and control. I've said it before and I'll say it again. You are not too old. It is not too late. Your body is still listening. It still responds. And the best part? These changes don't just help your prostate. They help your energy, your heart, your sleep, your mind. They help you feel more like you again. So as you walk into your kitchen tomorrow, remember this. Healing doesn't begin in a hospital. It begins in your daily choices. And now you know what to do. This is your moment. Choose power. Choose health. Choose to live on your terms.